Hi, Danielle. So excited to see
Hey
you.
Danielle.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me on the call. It's good to see you both.
Yes, so
Yeah,
good to see you
it's been a
too.
hot minute, but
Yeah.
we're so jazzed to chat with you about where you're at based on the work that we did together last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the time, like one, it was just I think seeing you guys speak at that queer business event, and I just loved your energy and what you were doing in the room, and just how you had many different levels of like even just like being on stage to then being in the audience and really bringing people in with activities. And for myself, that I do different workshops and I do talk at different events and everything. I was like, oh, I really like how that feels of like bringing the audience into the moment, like not just standing on a stage and kind of speaking at people. But I just loved, like, I think wanting to work with you guys was to bring the ability to bring the audience really in with you.
Mm,
One of the big things that I was like, yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
so
that's
connect with you
great.
guys.
And
beautiful.
I remember the time you had like some big kind of gigs coming up as well, didn't you? There were like specific, I think you had a panel and then you had a workshop.
Like while we were working together, I did speak in front of 1,500 people, which was
Wow,
pretty
awesome.
amazing for me. That was like my biggest audience yet. That was
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
huge.
that's legit.
I feel like I just opened up and like commanded the stage a lot more. Like I
Mm,
knew the things like after us sitting down and going through some sessions, I knew how I wanted to occupy the space on the stage,
Wow.
which if we hadn't talked about that, I don't think I that would have been in my mind. And I
yeah.
got feedback afterwards that people were like, yeah, like the way that you held like the space and like presence on the stage was like a lot more than the other panelists.
Yes, that's
It was
so
Ah,
really
good.
amazing.
and I just felt so calm. Like I was just there. Like we talked about looking out into the audience, just kind of grounding yourself into the moment, into the
Yeah,
space. So,
wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Danielle.
Incredible.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of folks that we talk to when they're getting invited to go speak on panels or in any sort of speaking context, there's a lot of variables that stress the person out before they're on stage. And what I'm hearing from you is like, even in that panel context, when all sorts of other things are happening for each speaker, you had this sense of groundedness and this confidence.
It sounds like you were able to ground yourself in a specific way, so much so that you weren't swayed by the what was happening with the moderator. You were actually able to like be like, okay, this is happening. Let's come together. Like you were able to pull that together. So
Yeah.
like groundedness was happening even before you hit the stage, it seems.
Even like I think the first session that I came in on with you guys, there was this sense of like nervousness that I had
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, when I thought about speaking.
Ah,
There was
Yeah.
this
yeah.
like sense of nervousness when I thought, okay, like I'm gonna go speak and I'm doing this. That it just didn't like it felt like I didn't have quite enough tools in my tool bag
Mm.
to
Mm.
know what I was gonna do if yeah, like we talked about like if like an audience member says
Yeah.
something off
Yeah.
cue or like if something kind of goes off and
Yeah.
awry and like I did there was like this sense of nervousness and I was thinking about this over like the last few days after you guys asked me and I was like what was like the biggest shift for me and I think it really was kind of getting every like all of my fears and everything out on the table
Mm.
and then giving those fears tools to them be
Mm.
able to implement. And I think because of that, I did feel really grounded.
That's
So,
That's
and I've
incredible.
it.
been taking up way more space in conversation.
That's
Like just
so good.
generally, then
In
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
general.
so happy
this
for
is
you.
spreading out.
It always feels really pedantic when we're doing those exercises, like, okay, interrupt me more, speak more.
Yeah.
But it's so good to hear that, like, in the real world, that's coming in handy.
Yeah.
It did feel like it just gave me more permission in life to just like speak and say more.
Yeah.
That means so much. That's like exactly why we do like this. So
Yeah.
It
it's
really
like
is.
incredible to
Yeah.
hear Danielle things. So we're humbled by that. And like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. I've noticed about you that you've got this leadership thing, this incredible self leadership, and how has it been sharing these tools and these skills with the people around you? I imagine you haven't hoarded this. You've got this generosity of soul. How have you helped your peers and others step into similar light?
I mean, definitely with my team, I um have like been just kind of coaching them on a couple of these things like when they're speaking like just giving little bits of feedback people ask me things I can't say like there's been a ton of leadership maybe but I do like I've been giving kind of feedback to my team when they're speaking
I
Yeah.
love the part that you're talking about, like getting the fears out
Yeah.
yeah
initially. And I don't know if you notice in the world, but do you notice folks sort of like sit on those fears and try to like manage them rather than like giving them space? And maybe you can speak to a little bit like what was happening before we were able to sit down and be like, let's bring those fears out. Let's talk about them, like what they are. How did you find that? Like, what was that journey like?
I would definitely say it's not like a logical question to answer, but more of like a body
Mm,
question.
Cool.
yeah.
Um, I can't even remember exactly what some of those fears were, other than like the typical ones that we always think about. But I know there were some specific things that we did discuss. But I feel like whatever it is that we talked about, and then we had like some different workshops around it,
Mhm.
it just gave it like that space in my body to like know what to do.
Wow,
Mm,
that's huge, Danielle.
yeah.
Like if we were talking about like nervous system regulation, it felt like my body knew what to do in the moment and how to respond to it,
Mm,
which wasn't there before. And I think maybe because of my interest, but I think a bit more of how to be like embodied in it
Yeah.
than necessarily like scripting the perfect speech or having the perfect thing to say, or like really having like the best tonality, which I think in other like speaking courses that I've seen, that seems to be more of the focus. Like to me it felt like a very like, let's get into the body and um allow things to kind of like naturally.
That's so great,
wow,
Danielle.
beautiful.
I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you,
Yeah.
and so honored that we got to share this work with you. It is incredible. We bring workshops to clients of all sorts of shapes and sizes, and we are always shaped back by the work. Like that's such an intentional part of how we work, is we make ourselves available, like artfully and somatically available to the work.
Yeah.
And the way that you showed up really made possible all of this development that you're talking about. And for us, it's about finding the right container. We weren't really sharing a bunch of skills and tools with you. It was like we were cultivating those together. And I'm so glad that that stuck.
And we had a bit of fun along the way, didn't we? Like there were
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
fun
we were
little,
laughing.
yeah. Like not all serious and discussion based. Like sometimes it was, to your point, getting into the body and just playing around with something or trying things out, so that it doesn't feel like you have to stick to one way of being. That you
Yeah.
can navigate that. How helpful was that to get into your body? Because you've talked about like we focused on like getting into the body. Was it helpful to be checking in regularly? Like, how are you feeling? How's your body feeling? Was that helpful, or were you already there and that was just like an add-on?
I think I'm a fairly like in the body person in general, but I think that when you're doing something new and uncomfortable, it's very easy to get pulled out of the body quite
Yeah.
fast. So I think that as we were trying these different exercises, especially when they're quirky exercises, you know, which you have to submit to logically to allow them to have like the effect that they need to.
Yeah.
So I think being able to go back into the body, because and also being on the stage and your co-panelist saying something could be like a quirky moment that
Totally.
you're not ready for. So I think that then like checking back into the body, you can just like reground the energy and like continue on like a nice like confident path of speaking. I have a specific talk that I went to that my friend invited me to, this like event, and it was on public speaking and how to get more public speaking gigs and events and get paid for them.
Yeah.
And I had to leave within like 15. It was meant to be like a 2 or 3 hour seminar.
Yeah.
I had to leave within like 15 minutes of them talking because they were like punching me with their like energy and with like not, I don't think, checking in maybe with their body. Like it just
Mm,
felt so like poured down on, and I was like feeling
yeah.
in my own body. I had to shower when I got home because I was like, oh
Wow.
my God.
I like that you got some feedback when you were able to stay in your body. It sounds like folks were coming up to you and saying like, "Wow, that was really impactful." Did that just reinforce that the way you were able to move through that was the way that was connective with the audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What were some other things that people said to you?
I think that they just felt like it was very connected and like I took up space. And the one I was kind of like sitting more forward and like open with my chest, but my legs were crossed because I was wearing a skirt. So and the other one I was just wearing jeans, and I did just kind of open my like legs up, and I got a lot of comments back on that like
Cool.
especially as women, and I was on a panelist with other women, that we tend to just try to make ourselves so small and like dainty and pretty and stuff. And I really went like with this like open. I was just like talking like
Cool.
this, and I had the hands up, and I did get feedback on that, and that it was like funny and engaging, and yeah, I guess that would be kind of the feed. I mean, I didn't get like tons and tons of feedback. The fact that I got any, I was like, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, if you were to write a little love letter to Danielle 4 or 5 months ago, thinking about doing this work, what advice would you give her to encourage her to do it?
Well, I think now I feel much more embodied in
Mhm.
it, which is really what I was searching for when I was wanting to work